You know, you do it every single night. You just surrender yourself to hours of what seems like nothingness. But have you ever really stopped to wonder what's actually happening inside your brain while you're completely out of it? Well, let's pull back the curtain on that secret world. I mean, just think about that for a second. 26 years. That is a huge chunk of your one and only life. So in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the incredible hidden machinery that runs while you're asleep. So where does it all begin? Well, it starts with something called our circadian rhythm. You can think of it as your body's own internal 24-hour clock that's running the show, dictating when you feel sleepy, when you feel alert, and honestly, a whole lot more. It's like a symphony of hormones, and each one gets its moment in the spotlight. Okay, so check this out. Here's how your body literally gives itself a wake-up call. Just before you even open your eyes, your system pushes out a big spike of the hormone cortisol. It's basically your body's own built-in natural alarm clock, giving you that jolt of alertness to get your day started. Now, on the flip side, you've got melatonin, which has the perfect nickname, the hormone of darkness. Its levels start to climb a few hours before bed, sending a powerful signal that, hey, it's time to wind down. They stay high all night long to keep you asleep, and then they drop off right as that cortisol alarm clock starts to kick in. Pretty cool, right? And this right here highlights one of the most important jobs that sleep has: repair. Soon after you doze off, growth hormone just floods your system. This is prime time for your body's cellular regeneration and for growing new tissue. That's right, sleep is literally when you rebuild yourself, night after night. So you might be wondering, how does our internal clock stay in sync with the actual 24-hour day? Well, it's through these cues called Zeitgebers. It's a German word that means time givers. And the most powerful Zeitgeber of all? Sunlight. It's the big signal that resets our clock every single day. You see, without those Zeitgebers, our internal clock would actually run a little bit longer than 24 hours. We'd start going to bed and waking up a little later each day. This is what's known as a free-running rhythm. Keeping our clock entrained, or perfectly synced, to the 24-hour day is absolutely crucial for avoiding things like constant jet lag. But here's the thing, this master clock isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Not everyone's is timed the exact same way, and that's where your personal chronotype comes into play. It's basically your own biological preference for when you naturally wake up and go to sleep.
So, what are you? A lark or an owl? Larks are your classic morning people. They pop out of bed early and have their peak energy in the AM. Owls, on the other hand, love to stay up late and feel most productive and alive in the evening. Which one of those sounds a little more like you?
And listen, this isn't just a preference. It has a massive impact on your actual performance. Larks genuinely have better focus and cognitive function in the morning. For owls, that mental horsepower actually gets stronger as the day goes on, peaking in the evening. So the big takeaway here is, if you want peak performance, timing is everything. And what's really fascinating is that your chronotype isn't even fixed for your whole life. We tend to start out as larks when we're kids, then shift dramatically toward being owls in our teens and early 20s, and then we gradually shift back to being larks as we get older. This has huge implications for things like, why those super early school start times are so tough on teenagers.
Okay, so we've got these daily rhythms. But how does your brain actually pull the trigger and make the final decision to fall asleep? Well, it all comes down to this really sophisticated biological switch.
Buried deep in your brain is something called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short. Just imagine this tiny cluster of about 20,000 cells as the conductor of your body's entire orchestra. It's the master clock that keeps all of your internal rhythms playing in perfect harmony. So how does this tiny clock actually tick? Well, inside each of those cells is this really elegant feedback loop. Think of it like this. In the morning, step 1 proteins turn on a process. This leads to step 2, where other proteins slowly build up all day long. And once they reach a certain level, they trigger step 3, which is to shut the original step 1 proteins off. This whole cycle takes almost exactly 24 hours to complete and reset. That right there is the tiny ticking clock inside your brain. Now, this master clock controls what scientists call a flip-flop switch. When you're awake, your brain's arousal systems are firing on all cylinders to keep you alert, and here's the key. They are actively suppressing the part of your brain that promotes sleep, an area called the VLPO. They're basically holding it back. But as that sleep pressure builds up all day long, the switch flips. The sleep center, the VLPO, suddenly becomes active and does the exact opposite. It sends out these powerful signals to shut down those arousal systems. And this allows for a really fast and stable transition from being wide awake to being fast asleep. So, once that switch has been flipped, you're not just off for the next 8 hours. No, you're actually embarking on a pretty incredible journey through distinct and purposeful stages of sleep. This whole journey happens in cycles, each one lasting about 90 minutes. You start by drifting into light sleep. Then you descend down into deep, slow wave sleep. Now, this is the really critical stage for physical restoration. It's when that growth hormone we talked about is doing all its heavy lifting. And only after that do you rise back up into the active, bizarre world of REM sleep, which is where most of your dreaming happens. And then, the whole cycle starts all over again.
So, what is going on with those bizarre dreams anyway? Well, the leading theory suggests it's your brain trying to make sense of complete chaos. During REM sleep, your brainstem just fires off all these random electrical signals. Your higher brain, the cortex, catches these signals and desperately tries to weave them all into some kind of coherent story. And the result? Those strange, illogical narratives we call dreams.
You know, this entire system is so elegant, but it's also incredibly fragile. And when we start disrupting these natural processes, the consequences can be, well, pretty severe.
And this is a massive growing problem. Just look at this number from a study in Canada. In only 8 years, reports of insomnia symptoms jumped by 42%. We are becoming a dangerously sleepless society. So what's the real cost of all this? Well, sleep debt leads to serious lapses in attention and costly errors. It severely damages your ability to form new memories, which is exactly why pulling an all-nighter to cram for a test is literally one of the worst things you can possibly do. It also makes you emotionally unstable by cranking up the activity in your brain's fear and anxiety center, the amygdala. But maybe, most importantly, sleep is when your brain cleans house. Seriously. During the day, all this metabolic waste builds up between your neurons. But while you sleep, channels in your brain open up, allowing fluid to rush in and flush out all these toxins, including proteins like beta-amyloid, which has been linked to Alzheimer's disease.
So you see, sleep isn't just downtime. It's not a luxury. It's a critical period of maintenance, repair, and memory organization that is absolutely essential for your physical and mental health. So the real question to leave you with is this. Knowing all this, how are you investing your 26 years?